Yo, and what do you know, Pokemon fans everywhere? This is the UPC group coming back at you with another recap video of all of our Week 5 competitions. I am one of your hosts, Mr. E4 Will. Howdy. And I'm also joined by a couple of other guys here. Got Mr. CO27 Dean. Say
Yep.
hi.
Hi.
Got a featured coach this week with one of our winning teams. No spoilers. Mr. Garywuzhere, also known as Nut. And, we got 4 great games for you, as usual, coming to you through Showdown to kind of break down a few games and some analysis on each of these as the competitive nature of them each unfolded.
Yeah, we've got some, like you said, we've got some good matches again this week. Nothing really drags out forever like some of the first few weeks did, but definitely a few things shaking up this week's games.
Had a little, a little more aggressive gameplay this time instead of some passive, bulky play. Now, there are still plenty of bulky ones, and they still do plenty of bulky things. But like you said, it's not been dragged out to 80, 90 turns. I think most of the games this week were within the 30 to 40 move range. And like I said, just a lot more edgier plays, a lot more confidently aggressive plays to get the job done for the winning teams.
Looks like this week we see one of the shifts on Russell's end. He's bringing Melodic this week.
That was just a recent pickup. Yeah, we had him drop, I believe, it was either Drapion or the Shuckle to pick up Melodic. He also picked up Masharna in the past week. Both of those additions to his roster are really, really going to be helpful, I think, going forward. I don't think he even had a water type before Melodic joined the team here. And it can just do so many things, whether it's offensive with the competitive ability, or whether it can be kind of passive with a Marvel Scale or even a Cute Charm ability. Just got great natural bulk and pretty good offenses, if I'm going to be honest with you. Kind of fits in well with the general dynamic of all of Russell's team members. You look at that whole lineup there, most of them are, not outstanding offensive power, but they all definitely can take hits and dish out some good ones while doing it. I think it's a middle range bulk to this, really at least these 6 here.
For sure, and I believe this is the first week that we've seen Rillaboom also.
We've not seen a whole lot out of the starters. I know I've got 2 of them on my roster, and they are good Pokemon, but Rillaboom is the only other one that's not on my team. And Russell's finally bringing it. Yeah, I think that's right. This is the first time. Its signature move is great, I think, in any kind of form of competitive play. Maybe not so much through the regular gameplay, but that drum beating, dropping a stage of speed for singles, just allows for it to set up itself for Rillaboom to be able to hit more things harder after dropping the speed and shifting up the turn order.
I guess without further discussion, we'll just kick this one off.
I wonder what kind of lead Hunter will start out with here.
Well,
Faded Grimmsnarl.
It's just hard to beat that prankster setup with him.
Our Venom. That thing does exactly what it wants to, and except for hit player ups. I guess that's just the one contingency there. Is that move is just garbage. I hate player ups so much. The Spirit Break. Spirit Break is so good, but listen, player up I get. He needed to have the extra damage. Frostmoth's really kind of racking up, isn't it? That's scary how quickly it's taking out Pokemon.
If it hadn't been for the paralysis, he could have very easily took out the majority of Hunter's team.
Could have. The Ice Scales kicking in and coming in clutch, especially after that first Quiver Dance, to live a Flamethrower from a special Hydreigon. That's some bulk, man. That's quad style, super effective move. Anaconda also just kind of taking hits, not really afraid of a whole lot until it sees that newly added Melodic.
Yep.
Melodic isn't even using a stab move to take out that Sandaconda. It wasn't a crit. That's just a lot of power. I think that's a very offensive build on this Melodic.
And minus there, it dropped special defense. It lifts that Ice Beam.
The Giga Drain was great tech for Hunter to bring on this particular Poltegeist. Getting the Shell Smash up is going to make things difficult for Hunter or Russell going forward, trying to defend off and defeat that Poltegeist.
Stored power is a really nice tick with this this setup on this Poltegeist.
Stored power, of course, gets more damage buff, 20 power each time that a stat has been raised. Where is it affected, Dean? I think it's just raised, correct?
Yes, it's just raised.
With 6 total stages raised, that move power is now at 120, which is ridiculous. Even though it's not stab, very strong move, able to clean up the whole rest of Russell's team. And the Focus Sash setup Poltegeist claims the win for the Menonito Kings this week.
Next matchup we've got is my game against Trey, and we're seeing, I don't know, we're seeing some of the more common things that have been leaking their way in the meta game.
Yeah, you know, we're getting pretty comfortable with where the Galarian Dex is as far as competitive Pokemon. So many of these Pokemon have just kind of concreted their way in the competitive meta, and they're all right here. With an exception, I gotta call it out, okay? I've seen a lot of Dynamax, Surfetch, and of course you see the same thing for Runerigus, Barraskewda, Duraludon, Dracovish, Phalanx, Toxtricity. Those are not uncommon. That Squirrel, man, that Squirrel keeps sneaking in on the side, and I don't like it because it's so good. I
wonder how far, like in the actual game, if I had put him on a team, I could take one of those teams in the ranked battles.
Well, after you completely kill off the entire rest of your team because they're just inadequate, and just pray to the Squirrel, offer your firstborn child, and then beat the entire Pokemon League as you make fun of Ash for not being able to do it. Yeah, you're gonna do well. Greedent is Pikachu times 4. It's the new face of Pokemon. Mark my words.
We thought Gen 1 Pikachu was chunky. And Greedent is the absolute unit of chunk.
Is Chungaloides, the composition of all things chunky in one Mon. He has berries for days, and you don't know where he hides them. We don't ask questions. We're chasing the rabbit here. I mean the squirrel. Let's get this going. Let's start the minute. One-trick spider. I wonder what that means.
I have no idea. I mean,
it's the fact that you click sticky web every time he hits the field.
That's a very good observation, I guess.
Yeah. Another great observation is seeing that Boom Burst coming and switching straight into your Ghost type on the roster for this week. That was a great read. He doesn't miss a beat in getting his own sticky webs out, so we're back to an even playing field, and I don't see any kind of reliable removal of those hazards for either side outside of maybe Rhoda.
Yeah. I know for a fact on my side that I didn't have anything to get rid of hazards.
Got a pretty slow team this week, with the exception of Galvantula being able to outspeed a lot of things, and then Barraskewda being fast. But even after getting a one-stage drop on Barraskewda's still quicker than this entire team, bar Rabambi, I think. It's so quick. He has to do what he can here to kind of slow that Goodra down, doesn't he? He had to get the burn off on knowing that the Goodra was a special attacking Pokemon. You got to do what you can to chip that beast down, knowing that it doesn't have reliable recovery outside of rest.
Yeah, this is a good read on Trey's part about switching in on that Dragon Pulse.
You trying to predict that to begin with by choosing, I think it was Ice Beam again, onto the Rotom? Was that what you chose there?
Yeah.
That was a good play on your part, but he kind of baited it and then switched in. So well done, Trey, for sure on that one. Dracovish coming in now and just doing what it does. It's just set up hits. Now, that was a crit Earthquake. He just lived another one after the Iron Defense. It did 11% damage. That's it. That's crazy. We've seen Dracovish take so many Pokemon out in one hit using that Vicious Rend. Seeing Earthquake from it just do 11%, that's I don't know, that'll make you choke back a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't talk about this thing. Not anymore. There's nothing left to say.
I mean, even without any defense boosts, it did over half of the Duraludon's HP.
I'm not talking. I'm not. Nope. I'm leaving it alone. I love Duraludon so much. I'm glad we got a Steel Dragon outside of Dialga, just seeing something like Duraludon come in and click all the moves you want it to click. Flash Cannon, a high-powered Steel Beam if you have it, that Draco Meteor coming through. That's a great Pokemon. Trey played it well to try to break down the rodent, the vermin.
And Phalanx coming in, finishing off Renarigus. I was kind of hoping for like a close combat, but
Almost got an excellent prediction there with the Psychic Fangs. If that would have hit either the Toxtricity or the Phalanx, I think you would have probably taken one out. Light Press does a lot, but it's not enough to dish out and then take the damage from the Dracovish this time, clicking that Vicious Wren. Trey definitely got it right with this time around with the Dracovish and claimed to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Define is scary too, isn't it? He coming in straight on the webs and getting that automatic 2x attacks boost.
Yeah, it was really scary seeing that. I completely forgot that had that ability.
Yeah. Even clicking that first impression, he couldn't take out the Phalanx. It was very well done. Very well done. Focus Sash here from the Galvantula to make sure it could claim the kill on the Phalanx and keep it from just running through the rest of your team. That was good brain, for sure, Dean.
Yeah. Fortunately here, the Toxtricity just starts setting up on me.
Saw the first one, and I thought, okay, that's game. And then I see him do it again, and I thought, well, why? And then I think one of the guys here in the group was talking, said that was a great play on Trey's read to ensure that if that was Choice Scarf Barraskewda, which you don't have to say, I think you guys are in conference, but if that was Choice Scarf Barraskewda, even with the sticky webs, it could have died to the Psychic terrain, or the Psychic Fangs. That was a really, like, a high IQ prep play for Trey winding in the final turns of this match to ensure the victory.
Props to Trey this week for his preparation and insight for some of his moves he's picked through the game.
It's not just trying to predict what Pokemon will be on the field when you attack, or how hard you're going to hit it, what kind of damage, trying to get those other predictions right, but it's also looking forward. You've got to think 2 or 3 moves ahead when you get down to your final 2 Pokemon, because your options are becoming more and more limited as the game goes on. It's a combination of chess and poker. Your hand is getting smaller as the game goes on.
Yep.
So very, very well played on Trey's part. That was a great close match. Got to see a lot of hard hits and a lot of neat dynamics. I don't know. It really stood out to me how thick some of the Pokemon on your team are, and then how hard hitting some of the Pokemon on Trey's team are in particular.
Yeah.
Great matchup.
Didn't step right into your game against Mark.
Looking at Mark's lineup here, I thought the same thing, I guess, is what I was just commenting on how your team was. Mark brought a very thick team this week between the Weezing, Appleton, Amaswan, and Dusknoir. There's not going to be a lot of easy one-hit KOs here, are there? Even with the super effective hit, you're not going to be able to take things out very easily. Mark brought a very bulky team, and when you do things like that, you can pivot well. You can work in what you want, and with those predictions we just mentioned, you can really play well with some thicker Pokemon like that.
Now, what was your main concerns like looking into this game whenever you were building your team?
I knew Mamoswine would be a problem. If it was Choice Band Mamoswine with Ice Shard, there was very little I could do against it, because Choice Band Mamoswine is naturally faster than Tyranitar, and Earthquake would obliterate it, right? Even an Icicle Crash, I think, would do a lot to T-Tar. Mamoswine with that Ice Shard could take out a lot of my other members. It would do, I think it was like 60 to 70% damage to Heliolisk. And it was not a contact move, if I'm not mistaken, onto Dubwool, so like Fluffy would not take into effect. It was just a problem. Salazzle was scary because it's just so fast, and the special attacking move pool it gets access to is great. Halecha could set up and sweep. The main concern was Mamoswine, for sure, I'm not going to lie.
How hard was it to see your boy on the other side this week?
Love Appleton so much. That's my favorite Pokemon from this generation, hands down. I do have the counterpart in Flapley, as we saw last week, and Mark and I talked about this just briefly before the game. You know, we have some good boys, and I wanted to see Appleton do some good things in this game. Well, it's conflicting. It's hard. So much.
Without further delay, let's get this one going.
Can we have further delay?
No.
I had to ask. What a great read on Mark's part. He brought in the thing I was so afraid of as soon as I clicked the volt switch. And I'm like, I got to get out of here. There's nothing I can do to stay in. Was my IQ hat on there trying to get the read? No. I got so lucky. Mark made a great play there trying to catch the T-Tar. And I missed it.
Now, were you expecting the taunt from the Salazzle? And why, as far as...
I was maybe expecting Toxic or a Will-O-Wisp or something to try to start getting some damage onto the Dusclops, because I was not afraid of Salazzle with this one Pokemon. Everything else on my team did not appreciate Salazzle and the damage it dealt. But Dusclops is like, he's a little bit expendable. I can afford to do this. The taunt was a great play to try to stop Trick Room or something along those lines. So Mark was thinking well there. But really, I was just kind of letting Dusclops do his job, and I don't know. I didn't mind if he went down.
Nice read on the weakness policy on the T-Tar.
Alas, it's a great move, even with that special defense drop. You know, this is bulky T-Tar. I knew I could live in the sand. I love Appleton. That one hurts.
I wasn't 100% sure on why he was setting up on the Lucha there.
He was expecting me to switch, which is a fair assumption. It really is, because Gojira would have been dead at that point. And the door being opened on me switching for him to get a Swords Dance up probably could have meant the game. Halicha is so fast and it hits so hard after that Swords Dance that it probably could have just continued and swept through my team with a lot of super effective damage there. Looking at Serena, Heliolisk, Dubwool, and T-Tar being out of the picture a little later on. Dusclops had already been weakened some. So that was a good play. You have to be gutsy on that. I had nothing else to lose with keeping the T-Tar in, so I might as well went for it. And then after that, I got to kind of work in the Inteleon, which was very strong. I think it was, it may have been timid, but I thought about building a modest set with Life Orb just to get that extra damage here.
We see him picking up, sweeping the rest of the team. Good showing for Inteleon this week. He's seemed like he's had a little bit of a rough patch the first couple games.
Yeah, you know, he has a lot of potential. It's been hard to find how it can work. It just kind of happened to fold out for him there. Mark brought a great team. I think he played well. He made a lot of the right calls, and then there were a couple that were edgy. All right, you have to gamble, man.
Yeah,
you have to gamble. I'm not going to chess and poker analogy again. Sometimes you just got to throw the dice, though. And Mark did it, and it didn't roll out in his favor. Unfortunately, I feel like I got a little lucky with that one. And great game overall. Really surprised in the way it turned out.
And one interesting thing that we got to see from this match was when the wheezing went away and the neutralizing gas went out, we saw the Sandstream kick up again and reset the Sandstorm.
It starts it over just like if T-Tar hit the field for the first time. Neutralizing gas has that effect where it just suppresses the abilities. And once wheezing has left the field, they reactivate, just like new. It's a very interesting mechanic, and I think it makes a big difference in a lot of gameplay. Singles, maybe not so far yet, but I think there will be a niche where it helps more later on down the road.
Yeah. Finally, we have Nate's match against Hurley.
So fortunately, we have Garywuzhere himself. Wait a minute. Nut. Yeah, Nut. We have Nut with us, and maybe you can give us a little bit of insight here into breaking down the leadoff for this game and playing Hurley here.
Oh, please. Nuts was my father's name. Um, call me Nuts. But yeah, this game was. I was highly anticipating this game. My opponent has. I think in total, I checked it out. He had 4 or 5 psychic types on his team. Actually, no, I believe it was 4 psychic types and 1 dark type. So I was really worried about Ndidi bringing him here. But at this point, the last couple of games, he's been great for me. Just cream of the just perfect.
No, he's definitely wreaked havoc.
He is amazing. With Psychic Terrain setting up, on top of the fact that, gonna spoil a little bit for those who haven't been paying attention, he's been choice scarfed just about every single time. You can't priority hit him, so you can't kill him like that. And most of the time, you can't outspeed him with a 107, no, 97 base speed stat. He's pretty fast as it is. You can see, even throughout this game, even though he's got a pretty slow team, that scarf does come in pretty handy. It came in handy last week, and this week it shows itself a little bit.
Guess we'll go ahead and kick this one off, but before I do that, for anyone out there watching, the reason that this match is played in Ubers instead of OU is Darm has been banned from OU, and we have allowed him to stay on the team and just games to be played in Ubers. Let's kick it.
Kicking? Oh yeah, rape culture hits the field. Yeah. Does it look like a demon to anybody else? I mean, he got horns, man. It is evil looking as it starts taking stuff out with that psychic terrain backing it up.
Yeah,
I'm really confused as to the grappler switch there, to be completely honest. I don't know why he ended up doing that.
I guess he thought the sucker punch would maybe help him out, but not thinking about the psychic terrain. Of course, we see.
Thinking, come on, you had to pop yourself on the knob and keep on rolling. Not sucker punches.
Now, Nate, just how thick was this noodle?
This noodle was pretty thick. I'm thinking maybe 6 C's of thick. He was a massive special defense, all attack, and he was assault vest on top of that. Because between Fire Lash and just lowering defense and knockoff to get rid of items, he was good enough without me. Leech Life can also give him some of his health back too. Primo.
See Whimsicott doing what it always does again this week.
Well, this week I couldn't bring a full status move build this time. I brought Cotton Guard last week just because I wanted to make him extra bulky, and it worked good with the against the Scorpion. But there was that Bisharp that just was the only thing on his team that would not let Whimsicott do its thing. So I brought Moonblast to take care of it, and it worked perfectly because now my opponent has nothing to deal with Whimsicott.
It's proven itself the last several games this season and the last several seasons that it's forced to be dealt with.
The last few turns here have kind of rolled out. You can see that Whimsicott could have totally been comfortable just more or less stalling out as the game progressed. And Bronzong is trying to get that gyro ball off. I thought this turn in particular was interesting as Hurley may have started to get the upper hand on the Whimsicott and then swapped out and brought in the Colossal. Now, Colossal was not going to do pretty much anything the rest of the game. That was a fair sack. Fortunately, the leech seed is ticking away, and we've seen that now not just on the Whimsicott, but Bish has come in now with more seeds for sharing. He's just everything's gonna get a little sip.
Seeds.
I'm a farmer. I'm a humble farmer tending to my seed. That's all. Don't take it in any other ways.
You just walk out into the pasture. A Cabbage Patch Whimsicott, and then you reach down and grab another one, and your hand's bleeding as you pull up Cabbage Patch Ferrothorn. Yeah, that's a problem. That's nightmare fuel kid time. I don't like that.
I mean, is that Cabbage Patch also infested with Cinescorches?
Or no, Darmanitan has to be the farmer. It's Farmanitan.
Yeah,
Give me that.
I could see a nice straw farmer's hat fitting on top of Darm's hair.
We have Farmanitan. That's a great nickname for next week. However, this week it was triple banned because he's banned in OU. He's got the Guerrilla Tactics banned. He also had choice banned, so he's triple banned this week. I just had to show him up just for the nickname. He just came in and used them. Could have clicked the Earthquake. However, I was afraid he'd switch in Bronzong, but I just have old bastard here. Take it out and just start knocking off everything.
You have a really good differential already going into this week, and here you are cleaning up another 6-0.
Well, the main point of the switching around so much is I was preserving the differential. I had already won the game as soon as Bisharp had died. I hate to say that for my opponent, but with no checks to stopping the leech seed from Whimsicott, it was just a game over at that point. I was switching around to preserve differential just to get it higher up so that whenever I retake first place, I already got first place. Watch out, me. I'm taking first place from even myself.
Cue the meme of the guy with the gun pointing to himself.
Ward's house.
He doesn't trust him either. I don't know what's going on here. It's a lot of self-doubt.
Trust nobody. Don't trust yourself. Don't even trust Squidward's house.
So I don't really know what else to say about that. I think that kind of does it. I will say this: that's a hard thing to manage, is trying to preserve differential, because a switch in here and a switch in there against very, prowess offensive Pokemon like Dragapult still being on the roster. That's gutsy. You got to really know what you're doing to play around stuff like that. Hurley could have maybe clawed his way back into that. If a switch had gone bad or a critical hit could have been in there.
Yeah.
Never count a game out. Never count one down.
That's why you play them towards the end. Play them till the end.
Believe it. You got to wait on them GGs too, man. I've dropped a GG before too early, and then started sweating bullets because the guy climbed back in, and it was very well warranted. You never ever count someone out before it's over.
Just without anything else to say, Nate, we'd like to thank you for joining us this week.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate coming on. That sounded creepier than I meant it to.
I don't know what he's doing at this point. He is doing that. So yeah, you keep that rolling. We'll get you back on here. We'll edit more of you out than we're going to do this time. And yeah, looking forward to maybe not having to deal with you on here again. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome back anytime.
We'd like to thank everybody out there that's been keeping up with the videos and keeping up with our website as well. I've noticed several more entries on some of our surveys that have been posted. Just remember to hit that like button, subscribe if you hadn't already, comment, let us know what you're thinking. Contact us through our email at ultimatepokemonchampions@gmail.com. Hit us up.
To hear from you. We are people for the people, by the people, of the people.
Until next week, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Needs us to remember to stay hydrated. I guess, water all your cotton, your
make sure
Cabbage
you
Patch Kids out there.
you got to make sure you water your cabbage patch to keep the fire bugs out of it.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's literally nothing else any dumber than we could say. Thanks again for putting up with this. Love to hear from you guys. Bye.